Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. I do appreciate the ability here for myself to discuss the ancient. I got nothing. It's raining out, and I'm hanging out, and there's nobody in the chat, and I don't care about that. I'm not here to make friends. I'm just here because it's this new form of entertainment, and I feel being part of it makes me part of something as well. And of course, my persona of being a older, cool bachelor living in a man cave, cavalier, and it's Cinco de Mayo, and it looks like the rain stopped. And I'm hopefully you people will understand where I'm coming from. YouTube, YouTube. It's bad lighting I got. Lighting is everything. I know that. I think it's better if you do it on your phone. I'm on my laptop because I'll tell you what happened. Hello. What happened is I have this Chromebook. I'm on a Chromebook now. I feel well, I couldn't get the thing to tether on this new phone, and it's all trial and error for me. And I do, that's how my whole life has been, being who I am today, which my YouTube persona is not the same as my real life. As everyone, I don't know what I'm saying. Hey, welcome. There's people here. Hello, Karen. Hi, Miss Lane. Hello, all of the ladies. I think so. I know that, Karen. Can you guys hear me? This is the first time I've done it with this thing. I did it with my phone. I'm tethered. I know I'm like an IT genius now. Charlotte. Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's amazing, isn't it? It's Cinco de Mayo and it was raining today, and I've been working. I work all the time. And last night, I don't even know the individual's name. He was from Colombia, and there were 7,000 guests maybe. And I don't know. It was like Bad Bunny. I've worked Bad Bunny concerts, 4, and it was a Bad Bunny crowd with a lot of Bad Bunnies. A lot of those Bad Bunnies, they just, and they're in heels, and it's an old arena, and they're walking down the stairs, and and then towards the end, and it can be a disaster. I see the comments. Hear you loud. Thank you, Charlotte. Very welcome. I'm so happy, Karen and Karen and Miss Lane. I'm so happy that you're here. It's so superficial. Real life is so much better. But I do enjoy. No, not really. Things are always changing. Playboy bunnies. The Playboy bunnies. Some of the Playboy, I have a friend, she was a Playboy bunny, but now they're in their 70s. She was a Playboy bunny. They always show you the pictures of when they were Playboys. They're so amazing. Women now in their late 60s, early 70s, because I date age appropriate. A lot of them don't want to. Some will appear once in a while in my videos, but some of them they don't understand or trust the internet, and a lot of, they have professional jobs, and some of them even have families, and they're interesting, but they have all these life experiences, and you have to be careful because you know when someone is still in love with their dead husband, you got to respect that. I'm gonna see if I can make this thing bigger. Whoa, I made it smaller. I better leave everything alone. I know old bunnies and Vegas showgirls, cocktail waitresses, you know, attractive people, women, uh, they go through cycles because they society treats them differently, and it's not our fault. You may be an attractive woman yourself. I don't know because this is not real. I don't know you. You don't have rent a storage facility so you can keep all your old magazines in there. So you got copies of the same magazine from the 90s all the way. Some even still work. But they're very temperamental, and they have handlers, and yes, a lot of them are retired trophy wives as well. The trophy wives that trophy wives. You're a trophy wife. You don't even know it, and a lot of my friends that I grew up with were older than me, and they're gone. And another friend of mine she's in her 70s, and we talk all the time, and she's a fashionista, and she always reminds me. She goes, when we were in our 20s, they were in their 40s, and so we talk about those good old days and how people are now, Generation X, with their issues, and the way they raise their children. Of course, it's none of my business, but the men are really soft. Men in their 20s and 30s. I don't know what happened. I'm not making it up. They're soft. They're emotional, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's an issue. My God. I'm not saying it's their mom's fault, and don't let your cowboys grow up to be babies. You know, these moms who wouldn't allow their sons to play with replica arms, and guns. And I said it. There you go, algorithms. I said it, and I guess that's their prerogative. But now when they're going to activate the draft, 70% of the population supposedly is not fit enough to make it through basic training, and basic training is basic. It's not that hard. I could probably pass it now. Maybe not on the pull-ups. Who's Karen? You're really chatting it up there, girl. Oh, the drama ladies. Do you still go there? Once in a while, I'll go to Burnt Toast, but not late. I get blocked right away. Right away. Is that the real Mr. Vlogger? And then the mods check me out, and then as soon as I say anything, because she's made her whole thing on that one woman, Betty. Betty with all those people when they were doing those money grabs. That was interesting. You tell people who aren't used to the internet, or I mean, YouTube, about the experience that most of us have had here, people that have been on the YouTube and with the drama and the scams, those St. Jude things where they have the money grabs, and that happens in real life too. And we know that. We know that. But happening on the internet, I don't have time there. I just don't have time anymore. I'm just so busy. But I have time to sit here, and I figured it out because I'm tethered. I have the worst experiences when I go into these phone companies and ask questions. Before I know it, some wizard is doing all this and doing all that, and we're going to charge your month. And I go, whoa, whoa, whoa. Just wanted a question. What is tethering? Well, we need to hook up this thing here and tell me a Wi-Fi thing. I go, no, no, no. But that's their thing. It's switch and bait and switch. I know that. I even told the guard there. I go, I should know about bait and switch by now. And he goes, but where I go to, I live in the city, so there's a lot of the street people are here, and it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. They don't bother me. I don't know what, that of course they smell, and I don't like that. And they use a lot of bad language, and that's, what? And sometimes, I mean, if you're an individual and you start having children and with somebody, what do they call them? The baby mamas. And that is so shows us the lack of intelligence, because most of the people in the street aren't very smart. And it's sad. I go, hey, you're not very smart, are you? Who's smarter than you? Yeah, of course you are. You figured out how, a way to get around. But if you ask any of them, say, hey, what, you're stinky, you smell, why don't you go to a shelter? Why don't you, and they're going to give you the same thing, because there's too many rules. Too many rules. Yeah, you can't show up drunk and, start a fight or whatever and they all have that one story. Oh, I went to a shelter and somebody stole my shoes. Now, who steals old hobo stinky shoes? I mean, you got good shoes, then you maybe you got they don't have good shoes, but somehow somebody it's the good shoe stealing. And of course they always in my backpack, in their backpack. But it is what it is. And like I've said before, I enjoy. I'm going to look at the chat here. Yeah, man. Very channel. Hello, sir. Hey, man. Good afternoon. Hey, what's going on? Got any haters? Oh, I don't have hardly any. None. I got emojis. I'm looking for a certain person. I have friends now in real life who have YouTube channels. They have channels, and they're amazing, because like I'm a YouTube partner. They don't know, they don't know. I went to Facebook, and it was so depressing. I went there in November, and I was out by the end of the January. It was so depressing because all these people I knew, I just looked at them, and they all show pictures of their great grandchildren and this and that, and with these stories of woe is me, and lost tragedies. I was like, oh my God, And of course, I ran into friends from the past. You were a lot of fun. Bad investment, whatever that is. But rain has stopped, and I think I'm going to go to the local. Well, it's Old Town. People go, oh, it's Old Town. Well, it's the ancients, the real ancients. There was a spring there, fresh water, and it's approximately 4 miles from the Pacific Ocean, and it's called Old Town because there was fresh water there. We need water. And they go, oh, and the conquistadors cruised in there. And that's when the 1500s, they didn't come back for a while because they had all those cattle ranches. And they came and took the hides and they built Old Town. Then people started hanging out. And there's old haciendas. Of course, Cinco de Mayo has something to do with the French. Or, Tijuana is just really South San Diego. They got a new group of hombres down there. They've been down there for a while. They're called the new kids, but the business. The only cartel that I'm upset with is the avocado cartel. I mean, come on. When you couldn't even give these away. When I was a kid, oh my God! In fact, I had this friend, and she used to tell me it was an older woman. Blah blah blah. We worked at her avocado farm. It was a sin. Well, she was friends with my mother. It was a sin to throw away an avocado seed, and she had all these plants, these fresh, and of course now, I don't know. The cartels are running that show because now the avocados here, they put in homes. I mean, come on. If your avocado business is worth $200,000 a year, but your property's worth $20 million, which one? And you're too old to run it. Which one? Which one do you get rid of? Which one do you sell? You want to buy my avocado business? No, you cash out. And that's the way the world works. Okay, I'm going to go now. Thank you, everyone. Good Boyd days. Oh, yeah, Boyd, bottom of YouTube. It used to upset me the way those people ripped me off because it's plagiarism. I mean, it was downright. I mean, one of the guys that used the bottom, Boyd, actually had a puppet show and stole. It was amazing what those people did to me. It was totally amazing. And then try to discredit me. It was why? And they went back and forth, and the ones had the chats, and then there was those other ones, that poor child that was lost, and everybody capitalized on that. And then there's still that woman who no one has ever seen, Burnt Toast. That was her. You know what I did? I typed it. I go, I better not. She was burnt toast. That's you never. Showing your face and camming up is not a good idea, because you're gonna, especially with me. I'm a gypsy. I live a gypsy life. I have a gypsy wardrobe. I have a gypsy grill. I have gypsy hair. Oh man, I mean, I'm a real gypsy. I live alone. I'm a bachelor. I have girlfriends, age appropriate. It's amazing. It really is. I'm a gypsy. That's it. And I have a gypsy jobs. Gypsy jobs. Okay, Karen, you're like, imagine if burnt toast is really tan and tan mom. Tan mom. Burnt toast. She runs a good show. She's got a lot of people. And if it wasn't for that Betty, that poor, I always type in stuff like, Betty, these people are just jealous of you. You're such a beautiful woman. Please don't take that. I know I'm too old for you. And don't listen to these people. Because she's watching the show. She is. She's there. Come on. I mean, without narcissists, nothing gets done. Everyone badmouths narcissists. I mean, after a while, you got to tell them to shut up. And then they get all, shut up. Go get it done. But everybody, that project manager, I worked with him. We got so blah, blah, blah. I learned so much, blah, blah, blah. He got so many projects, blah, blah, blah. But he was such a narcissist. That's how they finish it. Well, yeah. I have friends that are narcissists. I have an attorney that is he's just such a narcissist. I've known him over 50 years that people always, even in the early days, don't bring him back. He's such a narcissist. And he's like the best attorney. He's got his third trophy wife. He's in my age, and the trophy wife is barely 30. Hardly speaks any English. He's got friends from his law firm, and their wives all hate him. So it's amazing. Real life is so amazing. It really is. When you get older. Because, once you get old, you look around and you go, what the happened? It's amazing. I love this outside. I can see people don't know if you say if you can build now as high as you want, practically. I think it's 15 stories. Before, as long as 15% of your apartments are rent control. They can't. You have to subsidize low income, but that means you got people that can afford $3,500 for 400 square feet living next to some hobo. They don't want that. So they got to look for people that are because it is what it is. This building over, it was a parking lot when I first moved in this particular spot. I've been here not that long, a little over a year, and it's almost finished. They built it 14 stories, went right up there. They got a freaking pool up there, big old pool, everything. Right away. They can't. It's amazing, and I'm not going to say why they did it because I know why they did it. Because it wasn't a scam. These people run scams on the city. Take out loans. Guy took out a loan to finish a piece of property. The loan, well, he defaulted on 300 million something or other. Defaulted. Where'd the money? He took out a loan to fix up the piece of property for the city. Nothing. He put a fence around it, and he defaulted on the loan. Enough of that. They will have to. Betty gets off the internet. Yeah, poor Betty. She loves it though. The summer of. Oh yeah, Karen, you're so well known. Do you make videos? You know what is so interesting because I listen to a lot of I'm a Stoic. I'm a modern day Stoic. Even when I was younger, people used to, when I didn't even know what being a Stoic was, what the lifestyle consists of, and I've always studied the ancient philosophers, Seneca, but now you can listen to it. And here on the internet, they have all these channels, but they're run by AI, chatbots. The chatbots even come to my channel, and they tell me things. Oh, I watched every one of your videos, and then you go to their channel and they joined 4 days ago. I mean, I got over 6,000 videos. Only AI can do that. What about these AI attorneys? Do they have to pass the bar? And these commercials that come up all the time. There's an actor in one of the commercials who came on. I was watching it, and I said out loud, "Hey, I know that dude." And now every commercial that he has made, it comes into my feed, and I have to keep blocking him. I don't want to see this. This is, And I seen him because he hosted a show, and I seen him. And I said, you know what? I seen one of your commercials, and he told me, yeah, it's AI. They listen to you. They can hear you on your phone. I said, I knew it. I knew they could. I knew they could. AI. I know that, dude. They're in show business. I know people in show business, and it's such a cutthroat business. It's so hard, especially the comics, the stand-up comics. I have an old girlfriend who's oh my God. And I don't fake laugh. Sometimes in the recordings, it sounds like I'm fake laughing, but it's like laugh track. I go to her shows, and I see other comics there. One time I went to a show and I was the only one in the audience, and they used me as the punching bag. It was a lot of fun. Okay, I've said too much already. What is this now? You inspire me to make a video. Okay, well, you only been here what, 20 years? How long? I was here before Google. Yeah, I used to play poker online, and I have it all set up, and I have YouTube running before Google. It was the wild, wild west then. It really was. God, it was. I mean, we'd have that's when you can make a video response. You didn't have to comment. You can make a video response to someone. What? You have all these video wars. I built a studio in one of my rooms. That was so fun. I had 9 computers, and I would move from one to the other. I was experimenting with webcams, taking them apart because you could buy all that stuff. It was like when they were going to from the big towers. You could go to the swap meet and buy a tower for $10. Just plug it in. Get yourself a funky monitor. Go online. I was the cyber rounder. I know. It was. The net teller shut down. And that was it. No more legalized gambling. So I just stayed on YouTube and played on one site. And then it just evolved into right now I'm sitting in my man cave talking to my Chromebook because I figured out how to click that into there and go through all the motions. Trial and error. It's amazing life. Karen, okay. Looks like everyone's gone. I wonder if I'm still on live. I had 9 I did a half hour. 5 people, 5 to stay alive. Thank you, Karen, and thank you all my fans out there. Loaves and Fishes, you took away the thing there. Karen, yeah, Charlotte, Caravan. Okay, unplugged. The Yay Man Variety Channel. I wish you luck. It's amazing, getting royalties, and being that I worked so much, and then getting the royalties every year. I've had to pay taxes, and then my tax guy who I go to, I was able to write off the man cave, and it's all legit because he doesn't play, he doesn't bend the rules. And I was going to change from him because I got to find somebody that bends the rules. And so I said one more time, and I went to him, and he saved me a lot of money. Thanks for the stories. Yeah, I know, huh? I know that's what happens back in the day. Back in the stories. Thank you for listening. Okay, I'm gonna bug out. Okay, let me figure this out. End stream. Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Yo ho, it's a pirate's life for me. I'm a gypsy. Bye bye, kids.